Yeah, so I would say Bitcoin is undervalued even at 100,000. My thinking is we should have probably been at 200 by now. But given all of the current macroeconomic conditions, the failure of fiat currencies around the world, the need for central banks to intervene constantly, and just the general perception of Bitcoin changing after the ETFs launched, I believe that changed the entire game. I really don't think there is anywhere else to go but to Bitcoin. And this trend will simply continue as conditions and more uncertainty arises in the world. So you might think, okay, Bitcoin is a tech stock. It's trading well. I'm going to exit out of this position and go into something else. But, you know, there is really nothing else to go into. Like, what do you want to hold? Real estate? Gold? Fiat money? I don't know. I don't think any of those things are worth holding if the trend is that corporations like MicroStrategy are rapidly stacking Bitcoin. Nation states are rapidly accumulating Bitcoin. Nation states are making Bitcoin legal tender, adding it to treasuries. You know, these things are a sea change, and I believe it signifies that Bitcoin is on the way to become the reserve asset of the financial system. So my view is there is no top, and the best thing you can do is buy at any given time that you have the opportunity and the capital to buy. I think this is the first finite asset that we've ever encountered. And to look at it as if it's a tech stock is a mistake because this is like Clem is representative of a lot of people and maybe a lot of Wall Street thinkers, but they don't fully understand that there is simply a point at which there is no more Bitcoin available. And yes, there can be paper Bitcoin in derivatives or just naked selling, like in the FTX case, where they sold Bitcoin they didn't have. But all of these things come to roost. And again, nobody really figures out what a scarce asset like Bitcoin will do when the shit hits the fan, because it's never happened before. Every other asset, there's always been more supply when more supply is needed. And people are treating Bitcoin like these things we've had in the past, but it is a different beast altogether. So I think that there's another point which I want to touch on, which is the cycles. So if you flip a coin three times and you get heads three times in a row, or let's say you flip a coin four times and you get a pattern, right? You get, heads, tails, and then you flip it again a few times and you get heads, tails, and you do it again and you get the same pattern. Is that going to keep happening forever? I don't think so. Each flip is independent of another flip. So there is no guarantee that there are cycles. And I think it's a mistake to assume that I'm going to trade this forever and there are always going to be these cycles. Because what Bitcoin is doing is replacing the financial system. It's not an asset that's trading within the boundaries of the financial system. It is going to be the financial system. And the way I like to look at it is the German mark collapse. It's not that, yeah, it went through a cycle of boom and bust and then, it slowly faded out. It just went poof and it's no longer used ever again. And this is what's going to happen to fiat currencies. They will all be replaced by Bitcoin as money.
When it comes to Bitcoin's future, few minds are as sharp or as visionary as Samson Mow. His latest prediction is nothing short of groundbreaking, painting a vivid picture of where Bitcoin could be by 2025. And spoiler alert, it's higher than most dare to imagine. According to Mow, Bitcoin is not just an asset, it's rapidly evolving into a geopolitical force. Nation-state adoption is accelerating, with countries like El Salvador and others making Bitcoin legal tender or integrating it into their national economies. This trend signals a global shift in how governments view and leverage Bitcoin. In fact, whispers about the U.S. establishing a Bitcoin strategic reserve are growing louder, a move that could reshape the financial landscape and solidify Bitcoin's status as a global reserve currency. Then there's the corporate adoption wave, led by pioneers like Saylor and MicroStrategy. These trailblazers are setting the standard, with corporations stacking Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation and fiat instability. Saylor's bold strategy of converting billions of dollars into Bitcoin has inspired countless others to follow suit. It's a domino effect, and Mow believes this is just the beginning. Now imagine a world where sovereign nations, corporations, and even central banks hold Bitcoin as a key asset, Add to that the perfect storm of pro-Bitcoin policies, institutional capital flooding in through ETFs, and an unstoppable scarcity mechanism. It's no wonder Mow sees Bitcoin reaching uncharted heights by 2025, potentially redefining the global economic order. Samson Mow breaks down his thesis further in this video, so let's dive back in to hear his detailed insights. But before we do that, could you do us a quick favor? Please like the video, drop your comments below, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. Your support helps us bring you more exciting content like this. Thank you and enjoy the video.
That everyone can make a clone, and you did touch on that, Clem. You said, you can make a fork of Bitcoin, you can make Ethereum, you can make Ripple, all these Bitcoin-like things that emulate Bitcoin, but none of them are Bitcoin. And this is why Bitcoin maximalists exist. They say all of that stuff is garbage and you only want Bitcoin. Now, maybe you think they're equivalent and then you go and invest in it. Maybe you think they're good and you want to diversify to hedge your bets. But if you look at who is buying Bitcoin, the brightest people are saying buy Bitcoin, and they buy Bitcoin and nothing else. Like Michael Saylor only buys Bitcoin. He doesn't buy other digital assets. He doesn't buy gold or real estate. It's only Bitcoin. And I don't know, I can try to unpack some of your claims, like the flaws, the whole point of Bitcoin is that it's a bearer asset. So yes, in theory, if your cybersecurity is bad, people can hack it and hack you and steal your Bitcoin. But the counterpoint to that is not to centralize it into a government institution or database, which also will get hacked all the time, but to up your security and use multi-sig and technology that's available, like hardware wallets, to secure your Bitcoin properly.
Let's address the valuations. Do you agree that now is time for a big pullback?
The U.S. Department of Justice has received approval to liquidate an astounding 69,000 BTC, valued at $6.5 billion, seized from the Silk Road case. This massive stash, once mired in the shadows of the dark web, now stands as a testament to Bitcoin's evolution from an underground tool to a mainstream financial asset. But here's the big question. What happens when these billions in Bitcoin hit the open market? Some analysts warn of potential sell-off fears, with such a large supply possibly unsettling prices. Others argue it signals the government's deeper acknowledgement of Bitcoin's legitimacy, marking another step toward its adoption in institutional frameworks. Let's dive into Samson Mow's perspective. Could this liquidation create shockwaves in the market, or will it be absorbed seamlessly by Bitcoin's ever-growing global ecosystem? Stay tuned as he breaks down what this could mean.
I would say no. I mean, if you look at Bitcoin right now, we're kind of consolidating in the 90K range, 90 plus. And all the pullbacks to me seem manufactured. It's traders pushing the price down to buy more. And if you look at the chart this morning, you see the green candles, the stairway to heaven. Some entity is taking advantage of coordinated FUD, which is the DOJ is greenlit to sell. Like that was done on the 30th of December. Why is it hitting the market now while the jobs news is coming out? And, it all happens at the same time. And I think there is coordination to suppress the price for people to buy.
Enormous amount of debt piling up in not just the U.S., but around the world. You said that Bitcoin is possibly, or, in a sense, the strategic reserve is possibly a solution to this rising debt issue that could weaken the economy. Now, can you just explain why Bitcoin is possibly a solution to this?
Well, debt is a problem everywhere, and it's becoming more and more evident, right? Like if you look at the gilts, they're already the rates are going up right now again. They went crazy in 2022 September, and now it seems to be repeating again. But all of this is because nobody wants to lend governments money, so that they pay more. And it's the same case in the U.S. Debt is growing at an astronomical rate, 36 point something trillion now. It just keeps going up. 100 billion every 100 days or something like that. But it's just unsustainable. So something has to happen. And this is why there is a push to create the Department of Government Efficiency to cut costs, to kind of fix the debt problem. But I just don't see that being able to fix because the interest compounds and it's really hard to cut costs drastically, especially when there's an entrenched system in place that depend on the government spending to function and get their paychecks. So I think the way around that is to rebase to Bitcoin. And there is hints of that when Trump was saying maybe we can use Bitcoin to pay off the debt. And other politicians in the US have said the same thing too. So if that does catch on, then you do have this step transformation of Bitcoin into a reserve asset. And this is why there is no cycle. It's just replacing fiat money.
How is Bitcoin going to be used to pay the debt? Like mechanically speaking, they're going to buy the Bitcoin and then use it to pay off debt once it appreciates. Is that the logic here?
Well, I think they need to accumulate some Bitcoin in the treasury. So they want 1 million coins, which is difficult to acquire. And then you would be able to say, you know, we'll meet debt requirements with Satoshi. So $1 equals 1 Satoshi now, which puts Bitcoin at $100 million a coin. And then at that point, you just say, you know, you get a Satoshi every dollar that we owe you.
Imagine a world where your life savings are so worthless you need a wheelbarrow of cash for a loaf of bread. That was Germany in the early 1920s, drowning in hyperinflation during the Weimar Republic. Post-World War I reparations and unchecked money printing turned the German mark into paper confetti. By 1923, prices for basic goods soared beyond comprehension, and economic chaos reigned. Now, picture this. If Bitcoin had existed then, its capped supply of 21 million coins could have shielded Germans from the devastation of limitless money printing. As a hedge against inflation, Bitcoin offers what fiat currencies couldn't: stability. This era serves as a stark reminder of why a decentralized, finite asset like Bitcoin is so revolutionary. Let's get back to the video.
Let's say you own 100% of your debt. How are you going to trade internationally? Why do people want your dollar that's kind of worthless at that point? People want what is valuable. And if you look at the monetary system, the current financial system rather, it's starting to die. When the Russia-Ukraine war started, the Russian system was cut off from SWIFT. And then a lot of their assets were seized too. So would other countries like China, one of the biggest trading partners of the US, want the dollars, want to keep their assets, quote unquote, in T-bills? I don't think so. I think they would want hard assets. So the debt is absolutely a problem. And you can say you pay it yourself, but it just ruins the currency at that point. It just becomes worthless. It is the number one fiat currency because it's the reserve asset currently. But if you go back in history and you look at every reserve currency of the world, they last for about 100 years, more or less. And if you go back and you look at the dollar, like David can pull up a chart, the purchasing power of a dollar over the last 100 years, from 1924 to 2024, it's gone to about zero.
Yeah, in the sense that inflation happens, the fiat currency buys less and less of things over time. But how does this relate to Bitcoin? I mean, is Bitcoin the future of money? Is it the medium of exchange of the world, the de facto medium of exchange? Is that where we're heading towards? Is that what you're saying, Samson?
I believe so. So if you look at all the fiat money right now, it is a grand experiment that started when we severed from gold, and it just became money printed out of thin air. And if you look at the vast majority of human history, there is work behind every money. If it's gold, it's digging it up, refining it. If it's beaver pelts, then you have to catch and skin the beaver. If it's beads, you have to make the thing of beads. There's a lot of work involved. So the big experiment I see is not something like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is hard money. It's energy based on money, or energy money. And then you have metallic money, metals that are used as money for much of human history. Those are inferior to Bitcoin because energy money like Bitcoin can be teleported around the world instantly because we have the internet. And it can be verified, which you cannot do with metallic money. You can't count the atoms easily in a gold bar. You can't even tell it's real. And there's case after case of reserve metallic monies that are fake. They're bars of lead wrapped in gold, or silver wrapped in lead wrapped in silver. So this is why Bitcoin is inevitably going to replace everything, because it's a system that functions without the control of a government.
Samson Mow envisions a seismic shift for Bitcoin by 2025, fueled by sovereign adoption, a potential U.S. Bitcoin reserve, and corporate pioneers like MicroStrategy leading the charge. With Bitcoin ETFs gaining traction and global recognition of its scarcity, the stage is set for unprecedented heights. What's your take on Samson's bold prediction? Share your thoughts, like this video, and subscribe for more captivating insights into Bitcoin's future. Thanks for watching, and I would see you in the next one.